With Assetto Corsa Evo just a couple of months away, I think it would be interesting to see the evolution of the graphics from the original Assetto Corsa until now, putting side by side all Assettos. It has been 10 years, and during that time a great deal of things have changed in the hardware and graphics department. But I think some things are surprising. Assetto Corsa being launched in 2014 and losing support in 2018 meant the modding community took the mantle of evolving this sim to the point it's really not the same anymore. Remember, this sim didn't have any weather or night and day cycle originally. Competizione a few years later changed the model, being a straightforward one license title with an off-the-shelf graphical engine and Real Engine 4 that Kunos then modified and customized it a little bit for their own use. Evo, though, goes back to the start, where Kunos takes all the lessons learned to their own new graphical engine. I'm trying to make this side by side the closest I can, using the same time of day or thereabouts, so the comparison makes a little more sense. Assetto Corsa is heavily modified with the latest custom shaders patch, Pure and LCS, and also Natural Mod post-processing filter. The only way we can really compare all of these three sims a little more justly is to use the AMOLED video provided by Kunos, as any other choices they provide won't have representation either for AC or ACC in terms of content. The Porsche we see on the Assetto Corsa footage is a mod one. Also, a sub and like to the channel would be great. We're going to start with Assetto Corsa Evo, and in even these situations at the daytime, we can see a huge difference from what Assetto Corsa was able to do. There is volumetric light even during the day. The sun takes a little bit of a blinding aspect because in this situation, and I've tried to do the same in the Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione, when the sun is a little more on the downside, when it's, in this case, it's getting towards the sunset, the light will start to blind you and will have a lot of bloom. Something that, for example, Assetto Corsa Pure tried to do, especially with the LCS implementation that lately has been developed. When the sun is down, you see a lot of bloom into it, and also the color changes are pretty good. Also see a huge difference in the quality of the light itself and also how the light is represented. Compared, for example, with the Assetto Corsa or even with the Assetto Corsa Competizione, the light in Assetto Corsa Evo can be very blinding when it's in front of you, as if the world was much brighter. Assetto Corsa with LCS and most all of the post-processing filters in Assetto Corsa Competizione doesn't really go all out in terms of blinding you with the light, even if the light source is very strong. Color mapping also makes a huge difference in the way that the light and color is transmitting. In this case, I'm using ACC color mapping, which is more of a muted filmic style color mapping that is present in the Assetto Corsa Competizione. I'm also lowering a little bit of the saturation that is natural in ACC because it pops way too much of the colors. See, I'm using the natural post-processing filter, which once again will make the colors a little more subdued in a more filmic aspect, but it is undeniable that the color and the light quality in Assetto Corsa Evo will be superior to both of these titles because the light feels more dynamic. As I think Kunos, what they are doing in terms of color rendition, it's closer to what Polyphony Digital tries to deliver with Gran Turismo 7. The colors are vivid and vibrant and all of that, but they're also very clinical and almost very accurate to a point where it seems you're taking a picture through a well-calibrated camera. This is something that I quite like. The nighttime also shows a substantial increase in quality of the lights. It also shows that the contrast between night and day is pretty interesting, with all of the volumetric light also on the side. Blinding effect present at the back of the Porsche that we can see in front is also pretty good, as the headlights basically concentrate all the light at the back. To be honest, Assetto Corsa Competizione and Assetto Corsa also do an excellent job at creating the nighttime, and Assetto Corsa even didn't have the night mode enabled at the start. This is something that came with modding back in 2018 or something like that. In this case, you really have to praise what the modders have done in Assetto Corsa, because the light feels incredibly natural. It feels still like it is a jump into AC Evo, but it's not really that big of a jump. I think they did an excellent job, and the light looks natural, it looks vibrant, and actually looks very realistic. I think it's when you go outside and start looking at the details on the side parts, on the trees and everything like that, that you see that there is a big difference in terms of improvement. It's not that, once again, the other games, Assetto Corsa Competizione or Assetto Corsa, look bad or even that much worse. It's that you can really see the development and the improvement of the details on the side of the track. Assetto Corsa Competizione doesn't seem to suffer that much because there's an advantage in Unreal Engine. In this case, it's possible to use assets from the store, and the assets from the store on Unreal Engine 4 and 5 tend to be incredibly high quality, especially when we're talking about trees or stones or something like that. There's always a modeler that is able to create something fantastic. The old Assetto Corsa, we see also a few issues with the trees, and I know I keep talking about trees. The trees are basically 2D stacked images in a cross shape. And then there's another problem for me that is related with the ambient occlusion. The ambient occlusion never was very good in Assetto Corsa, and sometimes that can create a bit of an issue. It needs to be tweaked for every specific track. So a substantial increase in detail on the grass, on the curbs, on the fences, on the stands, and everything else. I think Kunos did a really good job trying to uplift the quality of what they already have into getting more and better textures, and everything else seems to fall into place when the lights join together with the textures, and it really seems like they have taken quite a substantial jump with Evo. Point I would like to raise are the quality of the models themselves. From the images and from my experience, the quality of the models don't seem to have improved much from Assetto Corsa Competizione into Assetto Corsa Evo. They feel more like they were polished with better shaders and all of that. But in terms of quality themselves, it doesn't seem to, have improved much. But you can really see a big improvement from Assetto Corsa into Assetto Corsa Evo. I know this is really not fair to say because we're using a mod, but since we're talking about mods, there are many representations of mods being better for the same type of car than the original Assetto Corsa cars, and in some cases you could see that the shaders were very dated on official Assetto Corsa content, and the mods would make a much better job at it. It's obvious that even 10 years later, the OG Assetto Corsa in the PC still looks beautiful. The modding community were able to keep it running and made it interesting and visually modern. Though, as we saw side by side, there are a few expected cracks in the paint. Competizione still looks great, though it has many issues that come with the Unreal Engine 4. It's fuzzy at times, especially at a distance, and the performance could be much better when you race in it. The color rendition and the light sources look stunning though. Evo seems to take it to the next level, improving a lot of things. The light sources look crisper, the roadside objects like the trees look fantastic. Yes, people that saw the Porsche Notch live videos, the trees are important to keep visuals balanced and interesting, making the appeal of the track actually grounded in reality instead of taking you out from the illusion of driving it. We are also yet to see the type of graphical modding that will be available for Evo. If, for example, multiple types of post-processing filters can be created from vivid to subdued and natural or cinematic, as we have options in Assetto Corsa. Hopefully the modding in Evo will allow us to make the visual changes we want in our content. But anyways, let us know below what you think about this, about the evolution of Assetto Corsa into Assetto Corsa Evo, and what you think about the new graphics.